Hello and welcome back to Food Chart Fridays Live. It's the gun version of the show today. Just being silly, look, there's a banging going on above my head, and that's because we're in a gym and somebody's up there pounding the iron, which is beautiful. Happy to have you here with me this Friday, Food Chart Fridays Live, where we teach you a consistent approach with our 1-2-3 system, 1 day a week to plan and execute your nutrition. It's number one for a reason. It's most important. 2 days a week of strength training as a minimum to get results. 3 days a week of cardio as a minimum. You put those three together, you get a healthy body fat percentage, which is the number one predicator for overall total health. If your body fat percentage gets better, so does everything else. So what we do weekly is look at food charts that come in to me from clientele. We talk about what's going on the ground, as well as giving you a little topic of discussion for the week. This week it's top 3 fixes for your diet. From what I've seen over the years consistently and what I'm looking at just this week. So with that, let's start off. Let me say I'm not a nutritionist. I try to share my personal experience with what we got going on, what I've been doing for myself as well as clientele over the past close to 20 years now for this as a business. Also what I learned growing up as a kid with a mother who had a fitness television show. So being in this industry for a whole time, we try to pull the bullshit, the BS out of what's out there trying to be sold to you by the supplement industry and the fad diet industry and give you a common sense to approach to nutrition that works every time if you follow the directions. And I'll tell you this, there's not one solid way. There's a couple of different ways to get there, but what I found is what you consistently do. And so the system that I teach, the common sense approach, you'll find aspects of it in a lot of other diets. And I've decided that's going to be my topic for next week, showing you the commonalities and how the keto diet is just the Atkins diet, sold a different way. The 4-hour diet is just the eat 3 hours. It's just listening to the damn whatever seems to get in your head easiest. But finding what you can consistently execute is what's most important. And that's why I feel the common sense approach is best, because you got to put some common sense on top of it too. Eating straight up bacon all the time is not good for you. It's just a fact. All right. So it's going to jack your cholesterol up. Let's get into it. First thing I like to do is go through food charts that come in from clientele. First of all, I want to talk about Dave. This is the Mr. Dave L. We've been talking about him for a couple of weeks. This is a guy that has been struggling after coming back from cancer, got back into exercise, working to get his food back to where it needs to be. And he's been eating a lot of McDonald's, and we had to talk about the truth and sit down and have some hard conversations. And we had another one of those this week where, I'm just trying to raise that awareness so we can get him to love himself from the inside out and put nutritious, wonderful foods into his body that will help him grow back and stay away from having to get to the doctor so much, period, because what we put in has a lot to do with what we put out, right? There's nothing wrong with waking up with strawberries in your mouth every day. So here we go with Dave's chart. He has done a great job of finding some consistency with his afternoon snack. He's also tried to find a morning snack that started to work for him in the form of a protein bar and muscle milk down here. He works at the courthouse, so he's got to find something he can do easily. He's also cleaned up choices at breakfast in general. And it looks like he's got way less junk later in the week, which is when we had to have our tough talk, was actually on Tuesday this week. So after Tuesday, it's really beautiful. He doesn't have as much dessert. I mean, this dude was crushing dessert and crushing fries like every day. And as of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he's looking good. And I'm super proud of that surrender. That is really, really awesome. Let's get the focus back here on the screen. Boom. Did you see that magic? All right, so Dave, I'm proud of you. I know you've been watching this, and we've been going through it the past few weeks, brother. And this is awesome. You have moved forward, and that is a big step. Keep it up. One meal at a time, baby. All right, next we're going to talk about someone from boot camp. This is Hannah with a C, who's been turning in great charts every week. I've talked about her a couple of times just because consistency counts. And she has been losing weight. She's lost close to 5 pounds in the last 3 weeks, another 1.5 pounds the week of this week, because she's doing consistently the same things. Taste some of that. Pop some of that food in your mouth. It's consistency that adds up. Another one that I want to look at here is Allie W. She's also gotten to be pretty darn consistent with her food here. What I've asked her to do, though, is look at her protein bars, because I know her weight's been stuck a little bit. So when we look at folks who are doing what they're supposed to do as far as the choices on the sheet, and it's been a little consistency to it, now we got to look at portion size, because something's still off. Are you measuring the food, or are you making sure to get enough? And a lot of times protein bars will have lots of calories. We've said for women you need to get 60 grams of protein a day as a minimum. You can get more, but you got to get that minimum. And that's at least 10 grams per meal. So at snack times, you don't need to freaking have massive snacks. Read the label on your protein bar. And if it's got 20 grams of protein, break that bad boy in half. We've also talked about the ratios of nutrients in these protein bars, and you want your carb and your protein to be about even. So pay attention to that as well. And I'll bring that up with Greek yogurt too. If you're eating a flavored Greek yogurt, you're getting a lot of sugar. So make sure you read the sugar content that's on that. You may want to go plain Greek yogurt with an apple instead. And the last thing with protein bars, which we've said I'd rather have them to be a small portion of your diet, use them when you're in a pinch. You don't need to pair something with it. If you eat a half protein bar, don't eat an apple with it. The protein bar covers all those bases. Bam, another one down. All right, so now we're going to talk about Brasia, which I like. Oh, that's her last name, but I blew it. I don't say her first name, then you won't know she is, because I like it. It rhymes with Frasier. That's how I remember it. So she's doing lots of protein bars. She's got much better choices at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so I asked her to find a better protein than what she's using at some of her choices. Sometimes she's got some really fatty proteins on her sheet. We're looking at pistachios and apricot bar. So that's going to be a lot of calories and a lot of sugar in that bar, because that apricot's going to get sugary, and I bet that's a calorie-laden bar. She's also choosing cheese and salami. 60% of the calories that come from cheese come from fat, right? And I'm not saying I'm going to war on fat. I think healthy fats are good, but too many calories are too many calories. And at snack time, salami and cheese, two fatty things together equals not a right. I'd like to see some vegetables in the mix, okay? So we're just going to need to do a little further investigation. How can I tweak this and make it a little healthier? Here's the deal. The more colorful your diet, the more colorful the foods you put in, generally the better the results. That means get some vegetables. Get rid of some of these protein bars. Let's get a small 2-ounce piece of chicken as a snack, and let's start to include some healthy vegetables with it. Okay, here's the last one I want to look at. And this was old Folk. This one here was Caitlin F. So on this sheet, we see lots of holes on this food chart. Now, this person actually lost weight, right? However, they're setting themselves up for failure in the long run. And what I try to teach people is we're not freaking building a diet. We're making a lifestyle. And if you crash and burn, and that's what you keep teaching yourself by eating one meal and then keep a big space in your diet, you're setting yourself up for disaster long run, and you're training your body to store fat. So I would rather see you maintain weight for a few weeks if that's what you have to do, but build the habits that you need, figure out where you need to tweak it a little bit, and then your body fat percentage will still come down during that time, and then your weight loss will start to come off. Plus, you'll have a system that you can consistently use going forward instead of doing this. So even though we had a little weight loss on this chart, I want to point out that all these massive holes where we are not eating food is going to add up to you gaining a bunch of weight down the road. I'm just telling you that because I love you. So tighten your game, get some vegetables, find some snack options that are convenient, and let's roll. Okay, it is now time to talk about the 3 easy diet fixes from what I see consistently with people. And these are pretty simple. And the truth is, I stick to the basics because if you do the basics consistently, you don't have to go back to them, right? So number 1 tip for easy diet fix would be write everything down that you eat, right? When you write down your food, it shows you the truth. Self-deception is a mother. And if you aren't writing down what you eat and your weight's not where it needs to be, most likely it's something with your food that's going wrong. And by telling the truth, sticking everything on a piece of paper, it gives you an opportunity to look at it and get better. Even more so, you can send it to me. We can talk about it here live on Food Chart Fridays and hook you up one meal at a time and help it get better. All right, so that's tip number 1. Freaking show yourself the truth. Write everything down. Tip number 2 that I consistently see on charts, even when I give these speeches to big groups and invite people to turn their food into me. Number 2 is eat protein consistently. Protein is a building block of your metabolism. And that doesn't mean you have to eat tons of protein. The minimum requirement, 60 grams a day for women, 90 grams a day for men. Eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and get small protein-based snacks in between. You need to average about 15 grams per meal for men and about 10 grams for women. You can do more, but you have to get those minimums. I consistently see people turn in information to me on their food, and it shows me where they ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then they did snacks in between, but their snack was apple, orange. And those aren't bad choices. They're nutritious foods. They just don't carry protein that's going to stabilize that blood sugar, because protein takes a long time to digest. And when you eat protein, it'll keep you from feeling hungry in between meals and eating bad foods. Plus, it'll save your muscle. Boom, muscle burns calories all day long. So that'd be quick fix number 2, is get more protein in your diet. And I don't count almonds and peanut butter as protein, because you have to take in so many of them. The calories get so high that it becomes an inefficient ratio. I'd rather see you do a little protein powder if you had to, or grilled chicken breast, a plain Greek yogurt, a 2-ounce portion for ladies, or a 4-ounce portion of turkey, ground turkey, something like that. All right. And finally, number 3, quick fix for your diet. Because this is just blanket things that I see consistently across the matrix with charts that I've been doing for quite a long time. So if we said eat more protein, the second one would be eat more vegetables. I mean, these aren't rocket. I've been telling you this since you were 3 years old. And Grandma knows what she's talking about. All right. Grandma's generation in general was healthier than a lot of our fast food generation now. Right. They literally aren't drinking the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? So with that, include more vegetables in your diet. When you eat that protein, include a vegetable with it. Make sure you have a vegetable at your big meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I cannot tell you how many grown-ass men I have sat down with to talk about their food. Guys that run companies, large divisions of companies, that sit down with me to talk about their weight. Because a lot of guys are great at working hard, and then they show up and they've got that pregnant belly. I call it the pregnant dad look. It's not the dad bod. It's like, dude, you look pregnant, right? So, but you go to talk to them about their food, and they'll borderline say, I'll say, okay, here's the big things you need to do. Fight down your food, include protein in each meal, pair it with more vegetables. You're hardly eating any. They go, I'm not going to eat vegetables. I mean, I literally have had more than one guy say to me, I don't eat vegetables. And they'll tell me their average day is steak and cheese. I do, maybe an egg with some toast. And then at dinner, I'll have some salami on a piece of wheat bread and drink a couple of beers. And there's no vegetables, and they even include like a Little Debbie or something. It's crazy. And they're like, and I'm not going to eat vegetables. It's like, dude, you are 55 years old. You could have a heart attack any day, and you're eating like a 12-year-old, and you're defiant about it, baby. Like, it's crazy. So, writing down the truth, that scale not moving over time, it starts to help things change. And their value systems change as well. Because they spent so much time focusing on building a business or building a company, and they hadn't spent that time looking at the reality of what's going on with yourself. And an easy way to test your level of self-awareness would be how many vegetables you eat in a day, period. That might be a good little test to start doing on people. That's beautiful. I like the way things show up here when I show up on Food Chart Friday with you. So, top 3, write down what you eat. Number 2, make sure to eat protein more consistently across your day. And number 3, do some self-awareness testing by seeing how many vegetables you eat in a day. I'd love to see you include vegetables at every meal, right? The more color, the better. You get those phytonutrients. They don't carry a lot of calories. They're fibrous. They're nothing but good for you. All right, that's your 3 easy fixes. Not rocket science. It's just consistently showing up, and that's what I teach. I'm never going to teach you the quick fix, way to magically do it, because all of that is BS. The proof is in the pudding. And when you consistently do it over time, it shows up, and you show up from the inside out that way. And that's what we do here on Food Chart Friday. 1 rep in the weight room, 1 meal at a time, 1 step when we hit that cardio, 1 moment at a time. We love ourselves from the inside out. It's Friday. Have a good weekend. Much love. Be well.